Spring is here. I love this time of year for several reasons. Number one, the weather starts to get a little bit more tolerable. Number two, loads of new video projects start to come out. And number three, brands start announcing products that they're going to be releasing throughout the year and give us something to look forward to. So let's get into it. USD have been dropping new content on us. First, they released the promo for Nick Lomax's most recent pro skate.
Welcome to Barcelona.
Apparently this section is unfinished because Nick got injured in the filming process, but even an unfinished Nick Lomax section is unbelievably high quality. You may have seen some of these clips on Instagram already. In fact, you may have seen several of these clips on Instagram already, but the section still has high replay value. As we've come to expect from Nick, he is flying through the air from object to object, and this switch up is unbelievably naughty. This section also poses the question, is there anything Nick Lomax cannot 540 off? And the answer is no, there is not. There is absolutely nothing he cannot 540 off. It doesn't matter if it's a skinny wall. It doesn't matter if he's transferring it off a rail to a bank. It doesn't matter if he's doing it off a natural launch. It doesn't matter if he's doing it off a rail. He will 540 the shit out of anything. This really awkward fakie 720 that I can't imagine many other pro skaters being able to do is actually the cause of Nick's injury, and he ended up having to get surgery about it. Nick's actually got a video about this on his YouTube, which is really interesting, really funny, delivered with his usual Bolton charm.
Crutch customization, crustomization, crutchtomization.
And I strongly recommend checking it out. It is really good that Tricky Dicky is back in action, and I think we're going to be seeing more footage from him in 2023. So yeah, good to have you back, Nick.
Grinding, trying to hit the belly, scotching for the top on the netty, bro got links for the desi, that means I too, double cross identity.
USD also released a section from Australia's Josh Nielsen, who is an unbelievably good skater. If you've seen his section in Vine Street Chapter 2, he does pretty much every trick both ways and has got incredible style. He's also a really top bloke. I've had him on Platform Podcast, I'll put a link to that below, and this section is full of brilliant tricks. It has a bunch of great lines in it, like this one. And this one. And this true topsail was delightful. As with all Josh Nielsen sections, there's some really technical switch ups and this quite unusual one. Josh is also really adept at handling that unpredictable Aussie ground. In the first clip, it's so hot that his wheels are sticking to it, and in this second clip, the ground is so slippy that he can't keep his skates on it. I've got no idea what's going on in either of those clips, but I love it. The filming and editing are great. I also love the soundtrack to it. It's got that kind of like late 90s pop punk vibe to it. It reminds me of when I was a teenager and like stick insect thin and used to go to like punk and metal shows and weighed less than like 10.5 stone, soaking wet, and would just get thrown about the mosh pit by like fat, hairy older guys. Ah, good times. Josh Nielsen also drops Bobby Spazov's signature trick. Knowing what a big fan Tom Moyes is of Bobby Spazov and that particular trick, I decided to get him on. Tom, you there?
All right.
Hey man, I was just wondering what you thought of Josh Nielsen doing Bobby Spazov's signature trick.
Signature? Nah man, that is a council estate classic. That belongs to the council estate.
Not a fan? That was awkward. Remember last year when Soichiro Kanashima dropped that massive 10-minute street section, Itadaki? Itadaki. That is not easy to say. Well, he's back with another full section called Shuri, and once again, it is start to finish incredible. Them skates have got an absolute workhorse with Soichiro Kanashima. He is regularly putting out content. This is his second section in 12 months, and Soichiro's not that young. I'm going to be 40 this year, and Soichiro's only 3 years younger than me. I remember that from when I interviewed him a few years ago, and he is still just putting out stuff of the highest level. As you can see here, his movements are just as agile as they've always been. He's dropping hurricane topsails on handrails like he's still in his 20s, and he's not afraid to fuck up people's vans. Also, the finesse on this. Flawless. Does anyone actually get recommendations from YouTube that they have any interest in watching? Nope, me neither. That is until Wes Phelan's new part dropped onto my main page. It looks like it was filmed in various parts of Texas, and it kicks off with a couple of really well executed switch ups. His heel roll game is pretty strong because he manages to do it to a grind and then have a heel roll out. And his toe rolls are pretty strong too because he can balance them for a considerable period and lock them into a grind. I particularly like this little unexpected transfer. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll put the link below in the description. He has got really good style. He gets really low on his grinds, particularly on his fish brains and on his sunny days. I wish I was that flexible, but I am 39 years old and have shitty knees. Now moving on to product news, a new brand entered the aggressive market last year called James Drive. The only reason I've heard of this brand is because people keep sending me the updates and asking me what I think about it. I'm not normally one to get all over a new brand, but in this case, I'm gonna have to. The first thing that put me off about this brand was the name, James Drive. I just don't really like it at all, and I thought it was the person's name and it was kind of like a vanity project, but then I later found out from a BMAG interview that that's not the person's name at all, and that it actually takes inspiration from James Dean and his cause of death, so James Drive. That is really morbid. I'm a huge Nirvana fan. That's like me starting a brand called Kurt Shotgun. No. James Drive are currently working on a buckle, although they have been working on it for quite some time now because the brand was first introduced almost a year ago and they're still not out yet. It kind of reminds me of the Icon launch where it was a year before they had a skate out. At least with Icon, they had frames out, they had wheels, they had soft goods. This brand has been around for almost a year and has not released a single product. Do they not know that we live in the internet age? One of two things are going to happen. One, people are going to get pissed off waiting, or two, they're just going to get bored and lose interest. I'm also not really a fan of the language that they're using surrounding this product, so it's a memory buckle, nothing special, and they keep referring to it as revolutionary. It's a revolutionary product and it's revolutionary design. No, it's not. The K2 Fatty, revolutionary. The Salomon ST8, revolutionary. The UFS system, revolutionary. The USD Aeon, revolutionary. What James Drive have done is they've taken a concept for a memory buckle that Rossies have been using for years and simply modified it so that you can put it on other brands of skates, and they're gonna charge people $50 for it. $50. No thanks. Not only is it not revolutionary, it's not even that original. Another part that kind of riles me up is the mixed messaging. On one of their Instagram posts, they say that the parts are not 3D printed, they're not made in China, and that everything is manufactured and assembled in-house by the owner himself. But the owner recently put up a bunch of Instagram stories where he said that the reason for the constant delays was the manufacturer sent him all the parts for the buckle and that he wasn't happy with the quality of them. If you're making all the parts in-house and they're not being manufactured by a third party, what's the manufacturer for? I smell bullshit. Speaking of brands that don't excite me, do you remember Anarchy Skates, the brand that used to make those awful knockoff Salomons? Sorry, what I meant to say was the brand that used to take inspiration from Salomon and make really awful knockoff Salomons. I didn't realise Anarchy were still even making skates, but they're still available on Amazon, on Decathlon, and curiously also available on local skates. In Anarchy's defence, they did release a lot of other hideous skates that didn't take inspiration from Salomon. Well, it looks like they've got plans to introduce more products into the aggressive market because a range of 3 skates has been leaked and it looks like it's appearing in Chinese shops as we speak. This black skate is actually Anarchy's best looking skate to date, although the Anarchy symbol on the cuff is a little bit cringe. But then I took a closer look and I couldn't help but notice a distinct similarity between the sole plate area on the new Anarchy skate and the new USD Aeon Sam Crofts Pro skate. Both have a very similarly shaped white sole plate, both come with a black skin, and both have an exposed black plastic cuff. Coincidence? I don't think so. Although having the black skin and having the white sole plate also kind of makes it look like Valo and SSM. I guess when you knock off other people's designs, you're always going to be really far behind the trend. They also have another couple of designs incoming. This one looks like a USD carbon-free team mashed with a rollerblade new jack. And then this next one looks like they've got the Shadow Jeff Stockwell foot wrap and just mashed it against a rollerblade new jack. Jesus Christ. I tried to get in touch with Anarchy, but they don't really have a social media presence, and when I went on the stateside website, which is the parent company of Anarchy Skates, it doesn't really have much information at all. All it says is the brand is focused on affordability and quality. Well, most of their skates come in at £100, so affordability is definitely true. The jury is out on the quality though. We're halfway through the video, so I just want to give a giant shout out to my Patreon supporters. They are listed on the screen now. If you want to join the Patreon, you can do so for as little as £3 a month. There's a bunch of videos on there that are never going on the YouTube channel. They're just for that platform. So yeah, if you want to support me in what I do, that's the best way to do it. I've also got a t-shirt at the moment. It comes in slate green with an orange print. It is £5 international postage and free postage in the UK. So yeah, if you want to support this channel, pick one up. That's enough of that nonsense. Back to the video. Moving swiftly on to a brand that I am actually excited about, Standard Skate Co. have released a bunch of updates and I cannot wait to get into them. Lawrence Ingraham recently released a new episode of Gear Talk on his Back to Blading channel, and in it he gives a bunch of new information about Standard Skate Co. First off, he talks about the origin of the name and the inspiration behind the brand.
The name gets its meaning from my wall of skates that I've skated, and me seeing features in each of these skates that were so good that they should be standard on all skates. So we're going to make a skate that takes all of these amazing features that you can find on all of these different skates and make them standard on our skate.
Then he addresses the claims that they're simply using an open mold, or they're just using the USD 7 shell, or they're just using the Razor's Cult.
I saw a lot of people say, oh, it looks like a them, it looks like a sway, it's just a Colt, whatever. It's a brand new mold. It might look like other skates. It is not based on any other skate. So we're taking aspects of other skates and we're finding things that we like to create our own silhouette. I don't really know if that's a word, but that's what you would call it in sneakers. So I would call it that in skates.
Although he does kind of contradict himself there, because he says it doesn't look like any other skate, but it takes inspiration from a bunch of other skates currently on the market. Never mind. Also, Law, I can confirm silhouette is definitely a word. You can have that one for free. Law also gives us an idea of what we can expect from the boot design itself.
Not only a completely new boot mold, but it's a completely new cuff, completely new sole plate, completely new frame, completely new mounting hardware. We are doing a lot of new parts for this skate. Now, a lot of it will be built around standards, obviously the name. So it'll be 8mm, it'll be 8mm axles, it'll be UFS.
And he hints at something that could be a first for the aggressive inline industry.
I am a big proponent of skates that have a flat heel with an internal shock absorber. You don't need to have this area filled in with a frame or, heaven forbid, a sole plate. You can use an internal shock absorber. Salomon came out with a design that used an internal shock absorber. I don't have my Salomons here, not within reaching distance, but Salomon's back in 2001, 2000 or so, they had a skate that was a flat heel. And they got around the raised heel issue by including a shock absorber inside. Do I have a shock absorber? This creates that raised heel, and that is, for my money, what I love to skate. And the reason is you can make this material out of anything. This is a fairly squishy material. So it'll feel like you're kind of skating, and when you land gaps, you're kind of in a pillowy cloud. You can have this as a more rigid material. You could have this as plastic and just negate the whole shock absorption thing at all. But to have that option to have whatever material back there as you want, that should be a standard. There should be a flat sole in my perfect skate. And that means that you can put in whatever height shock absorber, whatever durometer, whatever thickness, whatever hardness shock absorber you want in the back, and customize that for whatever you want to skate. Maybe you're skating gaps today, or you're skating street and you need a little bit more cushion. You put in something a little more pillowy. Maybe you're skating more of a wizardy sort of thing where you want responsiveness, or you're skating bowls with metal frames and you want every bit of responsiveness that you can get. Maybe you get a harder shock absorber. That should be something that you can decide for yourself versus the skate company saying, no, it's just going to be plastic.
One of my biggest grievances with most skates is the heel pad. On the Razors SL, it is far too soft. On the USD Aeon and USD Sway, it is far too big. And on the Rollerblade Blank, it's not only too soft, but it's built into the skate, so you can't remove it. If you take it out, you can't use the skate, and it's a flat boot. So if you're weighing anything more than 10 stone, your heel basically does this and you're essentially skating uphill. It's just killing energy transfer. Most heel pads are just, like I said, too big or too soft. And if you're not jumping off huge gaps or big sets of stairs, you get zero benefit from it. Like most people, like myself, are just skating parks or ledges or even handrails. You do not need a heel pad for those things. If you're hurting your heel skating that terrain, you're doing it wrong. Bend your goddamn knees. If Standard Skate Co. introduce an option where you can choose the thickness of your heel pad and the hardness of your heel pad, that could be revolutionary for the rollerblading industry and cause other brands to think about it. Plus, it just offers another level of customization where the consumer can get exactly what they want instead of having to buy all these various different parts and put it together. They can just get it in one piece out the box. Result. Lawrence also advised when the first samples will be available to try on.
And I'm hoping that we'll have the actual samples for Crowder Cup. And that will be where we'll be able to actually share what the skate looks like. And hopefully, let people try it on. It depends. I don't know if we're going to have enough time or enough samples for everybody to try it on.
So if you're at the Crowder Power Contest in Raleigh, North Carolina on April 22nd, you should be able to get the sample in your hand and try it on if they've got the right size for you. If you get to try a pair on, drop me a message, let me know how they fit, let me know how they feel, let me know how they compare to other skates, because I am interested. I also really like the way Lawrence describes the branding that they're going for.
Know that we are working really hard on the branding of this skate to be as inclusive as possible. We want to make sure that everybody out there can try this skate and feel good about skating these skates. You shouldn't feel like, I don't fit in with this brand. This skate doesn't fit my style. This skate should fit most people's style, if you like clean looking skates.
I know there's been a little bit of controversy surrounding the name of the brand and the font that they use. Some people say it looks like a BMX company, also called Standard. But in terms of the marketing direction they've gone so far, I absolutely love it. And the new graphic that they've just released, if they put that on a t-shirt, I am 100% buying that t-shirt. Lawrence also gave away another aspect of the skate that is unique that I am definitely looking forward to.
So we're trying to make this a affordable skate for most people. That means offering it at different levels. So not only will we have it at a ready to roll complete skate, but we will also be providing them as a boot only, and we will be providing them as a linerless version.
Offering customers a linerless version is a game changer. Every pair of skates I've bought in the last 4, maybe 5 years, I've either thrown the liner out, gave it away, or sold it for a fraction of what it's worth on those blade trade pages. If I could just get rid of that process altogether, just buy a shell and shove my liner that I've fitted to my foot in there, I would be in bliss. I cannot overstate this enough. I am very excited about Standard Skate Co. and the direction they're going. I don't know if you can tell that by the fact that I keep bloody rambling on about them, but I think Lawrence has got a really good concept. I think the team behind it with Stefan and Yandriel possibly Brian Weiss. I think it's going to be really good. Can't wait to see the content they come out with. Can't wait to see the finished product. And yeah, really looking forward to it. As always, really interested to hear what you guys think. The whole point of these videos is to generate discussion and have this kind of discourse where we exchange ideas. So yeah, let me know what you think about any of the stories I mentioned in today's video.